Hey everyone! So if you're exploring the EB-5 Immigrant Investor Program, you already know the stakes are incredibly high. I mean, we're not just talking about capital, we're talking about your future. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the single most important player protecting that investment, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, or, as you know them, USCIS. Okay, let's get into it. So, this is the big question, right? How do you make this journey to a U.S. green card through investment as safely as possible? Well, the answer isn't just about picking a flashy project. It's really about understanding the super rigorous regulatory framework that's been designed to protect the entire process. And at the heart of that framework is one key entity.
And here it is, the Regional Center. The easiest way to think about it? It's like your guide and your project manager all rolled into one. These are the organizations, approved by USCIS, that really act as the central hubs for the EB-5 program. They're the ones pooling investor money, managing the actual projects, and, this is the really crucial part, handling all the complex job creation math and compliance you need for your green card application to succeed.
So let's really dig into how these centers operate, because you've got to understand them. They are the direct link between your investment and your ultimate goal of U.S. residency.
You have to remember, from the U.S. government's perspective, this is a two-way street. Your capital is meant to fuel the economy and, maybe most importantly, create at least 10 full-time jobs for American workers. The Regional Center is the vehicle that's responsible for making sure all of that actually happens.
So, how does a regional center get that coveted USCIS stamp of approval in the first place? Well, let me tell you, it is not easy. They have to pass what can really only be described as a regulatory gauntlet, and it's designed specifically to weed out any organization that just isn't up to snuff.
On paper, the process looks pretty simple, right? File, review, approval. But it is incredibly detailed. It all kicks off with the Form I-95-6 application. And this isn't just a form, it is a massive, massive package of business plans, economic models, financial strategies, everything. USCIS adjudicators then pore over every single detail, assessing credibility and feasibility, before they even think about granting that official designation.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Look at what USCIS is digging into. For job creation, they want credible, even conservative models, no pie-in-the-sky numbers. For project viability, they need to see a real, detailed business plan and a timeline that actually makes sense. And for capital deployment, every single dollar of your investment has to have a clear, traceable, and lawful path, all while staying at risk like the law says. This is no rubber stamp process, it is a serious, deep dive verification.
But listen, getting that designation is really just the beginning. From that moment forward, that regional center is operating under the constant, watchful eye of USCIS. And this ongoing oversight? That's what builds a critical layer of security for you, the investor. And you can see there's a two-pronged approach here. On one hand, you've got the proactive stuff. Every single year, centers have to report on their progress with the I-95CG form. But USCIS doesn't just take their word for it. That's where the reactive part comes in. They can conduct their own audits and even show up for unannounced site visits to verify everything on the ground. It's a classic system of trust but verify.
And you better believe these regulations have teeth. USCIS has the full authority to terminate a regional center's designation if they failed to perform, if they submit false information, or if they just don't deliver on their economic promises. They're out. This is a powerful tool that holds these centers accountable and really protects the integrity of the whole program. Okay, so if the original system was like a deadbolt lock on a door, recent changes have added a full-blown, state-of-the-art security system. Back in 2022, a major legislative overhaul kicked off a whole new era of investor protection, and this is something every potential investor absolutely needs to understand.
This was the game changer, the EB-5 Reform and Integrity Act of 2022. It was easily the biggest update to the program in more than a decade, and it brought three critical new protections to the table for investors. First up, mandatory fund administration. So what does it actually mean? It means now an independent third party has to monitor your capital. They track it, making sure it gets deployed exactly as it was promised in the business plan. It's an impartial set of eyes on your money, which is huge. Second, expanded, and this is key, mandated audits. USCIS is now required to audit every single regional center at least once every 5 years. This wasn't the case before, and it dramatically increases the accountability across the board. And third, a massive leap forward in transparency.
Centers now have to disclose everything. We're talking marketing fees, who they're working with, any payments to promoters, and any potential conflicts of interest. This helps you, the investor, see exactly where all the money is going and protects you from hidden fees or bad advice.
Okay, so USCIS has built this really robust framework, but that framework is most powerful when you, the investor, know how to use it. This is where we shift gears and turn all this knowledge into action, into your own due diligence.
So this is the question that should be top of mind for you now. Knowing the rules of the game means you can ask smarter questions, and you can demand better answers from any regional center that you're thinking about working with.
Think of this checklist as your personal toolkit. First things first, verify the center's status on the USCIS website. It's easy, and it's your first step. Then, don't be shy. Demand the key documents. Ask for their I-95 approval, their annual reports. A good, transparent center will have no problem providing them. Ask them pointed questions about that third-party fund administrator. And finally, and this is so important, make sure you understand their exit strategy for your capital from day one. Because ultimately, it all comes down to this. Your capital, that's just one piece of the puzzle. Real success in the EB-5 program is built on a foundation of your own thorough research, a deep understanding of the rules we've just talked about, and of course, working with professionals you truly trust.
Look, the USCIS framework is a powerful safety net. It really is. It's designed to protect you and the program's integrity. But as you move forward on your own journey, the most important question to ask yourself is this. In a system that's now built on verification and transparency, is your own personal diligence the final and most critical step of all?